Kemi Balogun, TVC News, Abuja.
This initiative has accused former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of misinformation on the recent statement on the federal government's plan to tap into pension fund assets to bridge Nigeria's huge infrastructure deficit. The group describes Mr. Abubakar's statement as another routine inclination to raise unfounded alarms. In a statement signed by its chairman, Niyi Akinsiju, the group said Atiku Abubakar, appending his signature to a document that is capricious in context, shows that he's just out to be perceived as a government critic and opposition leader. He said, quote, Atiku and his handlers clearly need to be educated on the fact that when eventually the federal government decided to tap into the pension fund's assets for infrastructure development, it would be in the form of FGN-issued securities, end quote. The group urged Nigerians to continue to ignore Atiku Abubakar's politically motivated penchant for downplaying President Tinubu's plan to set Nigeria on the path of real infrastructural development. For more perspective on this, the chairman, Independent Media and Policy Initiative, Niyi Akinsiju, joins me on the news. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 10. Well, what informed that statement you released? Because some would argue that Atiku Abubakar is perhaps speaking their minds.
Well, if it's speaking their minds, the important thing for us is to speak their minds in context. We have made it part of our responsibility to, as much as possible, denude the Nigerian environment of the politicization of our institution, most reliable and enduring institutions. And as much as possible, when politicians go around there to start throwing tantrums and start making claims that are not truthful, it is a responsibility, and just like the responsibility of every Nigerian, first to verify, validate, and of course to engage if we see traces of untruthfulness. We have reviewed the statement issued by the former president, and of course we are also participants in the nation's capital markets, because when you're talking about pension fund, you are talking about an institution that is actively involved, in capital market investment. So any act or conduct to bring down or to obfuscate issues and transactions in the capital market, I think it's important that we quickly intervene, and that's what we have done. It's just to set the record straight, because what is obvious was that the former president was not talking to the truth. He was only rabble-rousing, and to that extent, it could also have a sentimental effect, on the capital market. And the capital market is very sensitive to all manners of information and news. So if somebody at that high level in the society hierarchy would take that position, we don't know, somewhere, a foreign investor somewhere in the world would take that position and make it its own position with that effect, on the capital market, the Nigerian capital market, as it were. And it also affects foreign direct investment that we are so much desiring, the serious of at this time.
So for the sake of the average Nigerian who perhaps does not fully understand, what is playing out, could you just explain how this proposal of the federal government works and, what really is its benefit?
Yeah, well, when you're talking about infrastructure, there has been what I call a national headache over the shortcomings or the deficit, infrastructural deficit that had been the malaise of the Nigerian nation over time. We talk about roads, talk about bridges, talk about social infrastructure, talk about electricity, power generation and distribution, and know that the standard of living and the well-being of Nigerians, and when you connect that to the productive aspect of the economy, what has been dragging us down as a nation is insufficiency in our infrastructural facilities. Now, a major driver of the provisioning for infrastructure is capital. And to a large extent, we don't have organically generated capital or fund that can provide the kind of infrastructure.
All right, Mr.
There are
Akinsiju.
different.
All right. Well, we'll just really have to, leave the conversation there. There appears to be some, sounds there that are not working too well. Thank you.